This is a world that I've made for my final project for game level design, and the theme was to create a dreamy, floaty, whimsical, and a vertigo arrow style world that is inspired by water, bubbles, and whimsical platforming. And I wanted to make something feel very nostalgic and surreal at the same time, while also offering unique mechanics. So as you can tell when the level begins, I can walk around my character and you'll see some water ripple effects that I've used with the Niagara system, which had worked incredibly well. And as you keep going forward, you'll see this giant music note that has this VFX effect on a static mesh, which has these different animation styles. And you go up here to this orb, which is a pearly platform. You'll see some little textures there. You'll see some droplets, and you'll see the first bubble as you go up here with some music notes playing up there. And how do we get up there exactly? Well, I have created a floating system where you can float up. And as you can tell, I have the character animation going, and it falls back down after about 5 seconds in the air. So I basically just float up to the bubble, just like so, and I collect the note, like just like that. And as you can tell, I created the HUD that just shows how many notes you collected, and there's basically 100 of them around in this world, and I will explain later on what you do when you collect 100 notes. And basically what I did, I went to Fab and I found a pack where it had so many different music notes, and I try to add a bunch of distinct ones that I found, and I'd apply different notes through each one, so you have like different tones and different pitches, depending on what kind of note it is. Just like that one has this really awesome sound to it. And as you can see with these bubbles, I have included like a hue shift and a bunch of emissions and all kinds of things to add this material, and you can actually see through. And as you can tell, a character could walk through this musical line, and it has this glowing effect to it. And as you can see, my notes are dancing a little bit. It's got some nice animations to it, and you'll see some more up here. And it's got this lighting that matches the Vertigo Arrow vibe. So just kind of think of it like a Mountain Dew Ball Blast in a way, where it just has that color, but implemented into an hourglass, which is where our character is exactly at. And this is a vertical level where you just keep going up and up until you'll reach another orb, just like the one from the bottom. And it just keeps going up as you keep going on. And so during the process of me creating these spheres, I was going to add planetary locomotion so that your character can go essentially revolving around an orb or a sphere, that I should say. But due to changes from Unreal Engine, because they can be very quirky a lot of times, and I was following a tutorial on how to do so, but I really couldn't quite picture why, because the first time I tried it, it wasn't working. So I decided that this would be a better idea. Just being able to just kind of find a bubble where you could just land on and just float around. And of course, one of the biggest inspirations was from Super Mario Galaxy, which was my biggest inspiration, while adding a Vertigo Arrow vibe to it, just like you see nowadays on the web. So as you can see, now I've collected about 67 notes so far, and you'll see some even more dancing notes here. And you can see some of the reflections that's reflecting off of these notes. And and Also, my original idea for these music note lines where I was gonna add like a note where you put on to these lines and they would make different sounds as you step on the music notes. But I felt like just due to time crunch, I couldn't quite put it in there, and plus it would take a while to really put all of it together. But I figured, why not have some dancing notes to look around. So we are getting very close to getting up to where I'm going to explain the ability that I created in a minute. So you can see this huge, like, pearly orb that we are about to go on, and you'll see even more dancing notes around. And as you can see, as you go up, you'll see this huge plane that goes up here, which I will explain as well. Now we are at 95. And now as you can see, now that these big music notes are really large, and as I collect 100, so as you can see, now that we've collected 100 notes, and you'll see these rings. And now what we do now is, now that we jump, instead of floating normally, now we can fly infinitely, which I call the super flow. And we keep going up, and now you can see we are at this big giant mysterious orb as we fly around. And as you can tell, my character will not fall, and I can just infinitely fly wherever I want. And as we keep going up, and the game is ended. Your melody has reached the sky. And yeah, overall, I have to say that I've learned a lot about the blueprints and the movement modes and triggers and the UI, especially just troubleshooting through these some of the blueprints. And I feel like this project really helped me understand how to create a full game loop from start to finish, including the mechanics, the visuals, and the user interactions. I also wanted to mention here that I forgot to tell about was the unlock system, where right after you collect 100, you essentially unlock the super float ability, which I thought turned out really well. And that was actually the most that I was challenging about, was just the unlock system was really tricky. But yeah, this is going to be it for my game world. I hope you enjoyed it, and that's it.